Living in harmony is possible if you know your emotions and how to handle them. Dr. Carmen Román will share with you in an engaging way the current psychology by sharing herself or interviewing experts who will inspire you. Learn how to live a life of fullness and how to recover your emotional harmony with Dr. Román. Welcome to Emotions in Harmony.
Hello, my wonderful listeners in Amigos in Harmony. I am so happy to bring you an excellent guest. We actually have a long time not finding each other, and life gets in the way, and you know what is going on also in the Emotions in Harmony lately. We are becoming busier and busier, but finally, we have the amazing Dr. Liz Bonet. Thank you, Doctor.
It's my pleasure to be here. I'm so happy this worked out this time.
And if you hear me to say only Liz, it's because we have Facebook friends for almost 2 years, Liz.
No. Yes. Yeah.
That's right. Well, 2 years for me. Probably you were longer than that. But if you hear me say Liz, it's because we just know each other from interactions, Facebook interactions.
Yes, that's totally fine. Totally.
So Dr. Liz Bonet is he has a Ph.D. in clinical psychology and is licensed mental health counselor in Florida. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
In Florida? She has a special certification for hypnosis and hypnotherapy. And she has a specialization for couples counseling and perinatal mood disorders. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And of course, she has a podcast about hypnosis. And can you pronounce, because I think you will pronounce it better, the name of your podcast?
Sure. It's called Hypnotize Me.
Hypnotize Me. Yeah. So if you want to learn everything, whatever you have questions about hypnosis, go and find the podcast Hypnotize Me. And of course, you will be part of the large audience that she already has, and you can contact her and ask questions, or you can contact us here and ask questions. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. I love the podcast. It's going on its 3rd year now. And I answer all kinds of questions about hypnosis. I cover the research and also interview people. Mm-hmm. And it's the theme is hypnosis, transformation, and healing. So this 3rd year and 3rd season, I'm branching out more to topics other than hypnosis, but it's still focused really on healing and transformation.
Yeah. So this is a very relaxed conversation and a very deep conversation. So please, if you feel that emotions arise or something difficult arise for you, take care of yourself. Go put pause to the video or to the audio and go and listen in your own pace, in your own time. Yeah. Okay. So we want the listeners to take care of themselves. And also we want you to be curious, to want to just, as you are listening to us, just pose questions in your mind and feel free to contact us. It is okay to contact us and we can follow up with that. This is a very important topic and I know so many of you asked for it already. So I want to take the basics and we go from there, and we don't have the luxury of being live. So I know more questions will come on the way later. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Liz, tell us what is and what is not hypnosis.
Okay, wonderful question. I get this question all the time. What is hypnosis? And also, how do you know you're in hypnosis? So they sort of go together. And what is hypnosis? People have written books and books and books about, honestly, because they can't quite define it. These days now with brain scans, we know that when someone is in hypnosis, then their brains are generally in the alpha, theta, or delta state. If they're in really deep hypnosis, it's delta, which is one of our deepest brainwave states. In medium to light states, they're in theta and alpha, which is similar to the brainwave states that go on when you're in meditation or relaxation. So we know that the brain waves are organizing and slowing down when you go into hypnosis. And the theory is that that then helps change be easier, an easier way to change. And it helps you develop new neural pathways in the brain. So that's some of the science behind hypnosis. Right now, we're in the beta state. Like when you're just talking to somebody, your brain waves are pretty jumpy up and down, and they're not very like organized and relaxed. And that's how most people go through our daily lives when we're talking to somebody. But we also go into trance states, more relaxed states, many times a day. So perhaps when we're driving sometimes, when we're doing dishes or something relaxing, or a really focused state of concentration, something like that, we'll go into a very light hypnotic trance, a trance state, just by yourselves. So then when you're in the office with someone, then they can lead you into that trance state a little easier if they're trained in that.
Mm-hmm. So we can hypnotize ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And we can consciously change or create these new paths in our brain.
Yes.
Hmm.
Absolutely, you can. In fact, a lot of my goal as a hypnotherapist is to teach someone self-hypnosis so that they're not dependent on me or a recording. So I work a lot with insomnia, and you can listen to an insomnia download to help you sleep better. And you can do that like 50 times. Maybe that make it annoying to some people over time. I have heard that actually. Like, I don't want to be dependent on a recording. I don't want to have to put that on before I fall asleep. Mm-hmm. And so what I often teach in my insomnia program and my practice is a self-hypnotic technique. Like, okay, let's teach you to do this yourself. Let's teach you how to induce a better sleep pattern in yourself. So that's self-hypnosis. So you can use that in a structured way, like have someone teach you that and really consciously decide to go into hypnosis. But we also, do that automatically throughout the day, a little bit here and there. When we're daydreaming or we drift off or something like that.
I'm going to tell you a little story about one day I was in the dentist, and I am meditator for many years. I am Vipassana meditator. So I am adjusted to manage my breathing to deep states of relaxation. Yeah. So I was in the dentist and he told me, let me know when it's painful enough so I can put the anesthesia. And that was in Spanish. It was not language issue. I didn't understand. I think I was in so much pain already or whatever it was that I was like, sure. So I understood I already put the anesthesia on you. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I keep breathing. I just did my job. I just start breathing. I got into deep relax. And a couple minutes later, the dentist poked me and he say, what are you doing? And I say, waiting, yeah, that you finish your work. And he say, well, I am halfway through and you don't say anything, so I'm not using the anesthesia.
Oh my gosh.
So when he told me that, actually, I got the pain. Yeah, because I went out of the state.
Yes.
Yeah. So
he took you out of your hypnotic state, basically.
He took me out. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I learned from that and so many other times in my life where I am able to ease my physical pain that hypnosis can be done without any source. You're right.
Yes, absolutely.
Without breathing.
Before I was trained in hypnosis myself, I did hypnobirthing for my second child's birth. And they teach you how to put yourself into a trance. And so I used that so many times, that breathing, way after birth, much birth was just one time that I used it, right? I used it at the OBGYN for years to help manage pain, at the dentist, like all kinds of places. Yes. So often when we know how to meditate, we know how to slow down the breathing, we put ourselves into trance, right? At that point, we're not actually thinking anything, though, of change that we want to create. We want to just remain calm and relaxed and have less pain, basically, right? That's usually my goal in that. So how hypnosis varies a little bit from that is that you're actually wanting to make change. So you want someone to make suggestions, or you can make suggestions for yourself under that state of change process that you want to happen, whether that's reducing fear or sleeping better or, deeper change even in terms of healing that you want to have happen in your life. So that's where it varies a little bit.
What you are saying is that I could have multitasking, like being in the dentist, getting this, and at the same time saying, may I pass the test? May I do that? Yeah?
Absolutely. Yes.
Wow. Our brain is wonderful.
I've never had anyone try that at the dentist, but I think that's a good recording to make, right? Like when we send you to the dentist. I don't recommend that, but if
keep
you calm. I'll keep you calm at the dentist, and you can score better on your SAT. Right?
Yeah, see?
Yes.
Wow, this is very interesting. So you are already touching into the next question. Is like, what an hypnosis can do for me? We already start a little bit, but can you explain a little more?
Yeah, so it can really help you make changes that you want to make that perhaps, let's say you just want an easier way to make them. Like most people can make a lot of changes in their conscious life, let's say with talk therapy, right? Where you go in, you sit with a therapist, you talk to them, you do work, you're committed to that. Or if there's assignments, some therapists have assignments, some don't. You do that during the week and between your appointments. So you can go to a regular therapist's office and do that in the conscious state. And that's been done for 100 years, right? Over that, where you go in, you talk, you get perspective, ideas, suggestions, you're processing. You're doing that in the conscious state. And a lot of change can be made that way. What hypnosis does is sometimes it serves two functions, I think. So one, it comes in underneath sometimes. So if you're finding that conscious state is not working for me, like I've been in therapy for years and I still haven't done what I wanted to do, or I haven't made the changes that I've wanted to make, then what I do in hypnosis is we look at a deeper level going on. So perhaps there's subconscious beliefs that are stopping you from making that conscious change. So that's one way that hypnosis makes changes. Another way, though, is what it's really doing is talking to the subconscious mind. So let's say you're going in for surgery and you want less bleeding or better recovery, or you're wanting to change like psoriasis or migraines or something like that, a condition. We can talk to the subconscious mind. We can talk to the parasympathetic nervous system under hypnosis and help make those changes or help make those possibilities happen, right? So like less bleeding and surgery we know we can do that in hypnosis. There's a lot of research on that. Well, most people can't just tell themselves, I'm going to bleed less during the surgery today. I don't know why they can't tell themselves that, but for some reason that doesn't work as well as when someone goes into a hypnotic state and the suggestion is made to have very controlled bleeding, minimal bleeding during surgery. So that's an example of the types of problems that it can address, medical as well as emotional.
Yeah. Coming from a family of indigenous, my background is indigenous.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of stories because in the indigenous community, sometimes there is no doctor, or there is no resources. So the curanderas, the healers, they can train the people or the people themselves can kind of manage. But you're right. Maybe it has to do with the confidence.
Yes, but so let's take an indigenous culture, right? They're going to the healer to do that. And somehow the healer is talking to them in a way or doing some kind of ceremony or something that helps them. So if you want to look at that from a different perspective, it's like, okay, they're talking to their subconscious mind and working with them that way, right? But there's also belief on the side of the person that this healer is going to help me. So when you take that into Western society, some belief is necessary, absolutely, that this is going to help me. Like there's a process that goes on of I'm going to listen to this recording. Excuse me. I'm going to listen to this recording, or I'm going to go to this hypnotherapist, and they are going to help me. Right. So there's a belief aspect in that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it doesn't always have to be there. I can tell you that first time I really used hypnosis on someone besides myself was my kids, right? My daughter had a phobia of heights that suddenly developed. And so I bought a hypnosis off the internet that sounded like ocean sounds. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to play this for you at night. You're going to fall asleep to ocean sounds. And she said, okay, wonderful. And within 2 or 3 weeks of playing that every night, she began like climbing playground equipment again and going on like the higher structures, and her fear of heights seemed to disappear. So she didn't really have the belief at that age, this is going to work for me, right? But it still worked.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I was on the other side encouraging her. I wasn't holding her back, right? I had the belief as her mother, this is going to help you. So I'm sure that helped. But I had that belief before too of, I can help you get rid of fear of heights. I'm trained about how to do that, right? But no matter what kind of encouragement I gave her, she wouldn't go up the playground structure. So somehow that worked on her subconscious mind, the hypnosis file, whereas I couldn't reach her consciously.
Yeah. And she has the belief in you because you are the mother. Yeah.
Yes.
You are a trustworthy person to her.
But she didn't before. I mean, I think she did trust me as a mother. But, when we'd be at the playground, I'd say, no, you can climb that tree. There's no problem there. Like, you're totally fine to do it. She's like, no, I couldn't. I can't. Fear came in.
Yeah.
So, always the question of, do you have to believe in this for it to work comes up? And I say, well, it really just depends. It does.
So how do we know, at least, that we are in the correct place with the correct person? Because it really is allowed around people who, one, may not be trained properly, or two, may not have the credentials or may take advantage. I don't know, if somebody's messing up with my unconscious and they mess up with the way that is their in their way. Yeah. So how do I know when I am safe with a therapist? Okay.
So I have a couple of recommendations, and I do want to say that around the world, the laws vary, obviously, about who can do hypnosis and hypnotherapy. In the US, we have 2 different types of people who can do hypnosis. So one are licensed professionals, meaning that's not just psychologists or licensed mental health counselors, it's doctors, it's anyone with a medical license, type license, nurses, dentists, dermatologists, often do hypnosis training. And then there's another group of people who don't hold a license, and often they're called hypnotists. But that varies. The language, excuse me, the language varies state to state what they can call themselves. But you can always look for their credentials. Like, do they have a degree? Do they hold a professional license? And then are they trained in hypnosis, and who are they trained by? So I would suggest doing some research. Now, there are some excellent hypnotists out there who don't have degrees like in psychology or clinical psych or counseling. But they're only allowed to work with certain problems too. So I say if you're doing something more basic, like stop smoking, something like that, probably a hypnotist is fine. But again, I would look at, I would have a conversation with them, see how you feel about them, make sure that they're operating ethically. And if you can, get a word of mouth, get a feel for them, who they are, because it is important. Now, if you're dealing with deeper problems, or you're just like, no, I just want someone who's licensed, I make sure is safe. Again, you still have to get a feel for them, right? You still have to make sure that they're operating ethically. Word of mouth is really good. Or you look at their Facebook page or their podcast, whatever it is, right? I still say check them out. But you have an extra layer of protection when someone holds a license, because they have been trained in ethics and how to operate properly. And they also have something at stake. Right? Like they want to make sure that they give you the best treatment they can, because they could lose their license if they don't. But generally, if they're holding a license, I mean, we are talking, they have years and years and years of training behind them and education, and they know how to handle problems that may come up under hypnosis. So it's not just that they're going to give you suggestions that are good for you and make sure that they're guiding you properly. It's also, if you have an emotional reaction or some kind of memory comes up under hypnosis, they know how to handle that and what to do. So that's an extra layer of training that I think the people who hold a license have that often hypnotists don't have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a very good distinction. As you are talking right now, it comes to my mind all these people or prospective clients that they call and they say, "Can you do a hypnosis on me?" And I usually say no, because it requires time for me to warm up to the client, to know the story. It will be a couple sessions before I dare to do a hypnosis. Yeah. And some people are not patient for that. They want the hypnosis and they want the results quickly and done and everything. But when hypnosis can be done for trauma, like for sexual trauma, and rape, sexual abuse, or whatever, it's a very beautiful encounter.
Yes, and that would depend on the problem, right? Like if someone is coming to me for something like trauma, that's a different process than if they want to stop smoking, right? Like I'll do hypnosis in the first session if they want to stop smoking. It's a long session. Usually it's like an hour and a half versus it's not like a 45-minute session of psychotherapy. So it's a longer session. I will do hypnosis in that first session with them for a problem that's more simple. But when it's a deeper problem, then yes, I need to get to know them some. Again, I do a much deeper method called core healing, and we're not doing exploratory hypnosis in that first session, but we are doing a hypnosis just to help them lift depression or build a better sense of self-esteem. Like that's after, and again, that's generally at the end of a 2-hour session, right? So I'm getting to know them, making sure they're appropriate during that first part of the session. But that varies by practitioner. So everybody has their comfort level with that. And again, it's not just a practitioner, but it's also what you're coming in for.
Yeah, I am loving this conversation, Liz, because it's so much taboos and unknown about hypnosis. It's so much expectations, I think, sometimes, that people believe that hypnosis is going to free me up from my work, from the work that I need to do. if you do the session for me and I don't want to smoke, then I'm done. Yeah. And I don't need to do anything on my part. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Well, that is the expectation sometimes, but no, you still have to do some things on your part, right? Even if that's like throw out all your smoking stuff, right? Yeah. Or we talk about like even something simple like that. We talk about if cravings come up. Some people have zero cravings when they try to stop smoking. Other people have cravings come up. So you can't predict that as a therapist. So we even talk about, okay, if a craving does come up, then what are you going to do? Like, let's prepare for that. And hypnosis is one of the things that you can do. Like usually I send them home with a file that they can listen to. So you can pop that in, you can listen to that, but that's just one tool of many that you could choose to use at that moment. So I do tell people, like, I don't have a magic wand. I cannot solve it all with hypnosis as much as you want me to. Yeah. I cannot. But we work on, all right, what are the strategies you can use and how do we make those strategies easier with hypnosis? So some people absolutely feel like it is easier, but they also have to be committed to that change process. They have to be ready for it and committed is what I believe.
Yeah.
So even with like, let's say we're working on someone who's trying to break away from a bad relationship and they can't stop texting the person. The person texts them and they look at it and they know they shouldn't text back, right? But they do. This happens for all kinds of relationships that really get toxic sometimes. So we work on, all right, creating this distance so that you don't text that back, so that you don't feel the urge, but also strategies. Like what are different strategies you can use and how to make those strategies easier for you to access. But ultimately, they have to not text back, right? Or they have to block the number, or they have to do this, or there's some conscious work that they need to do in the conscious state that I can't just, snap my fingers and they don't have the urge.
So the next question is, what problems can be done by hypnosis and what definitely is not good to work with it?
Oh, okay. So I don't want to sound like yoga teachers. Yoga teachers think everything can be fixed with yoga, right? I can say that because I was a yoga teacher for like 15 plus years. They're like, oh, your left arm is falling out. Well, I have a pose for that. I can fix that with yoga, right?
Well, pretty much it is. I believe in yoga.
Yeah, I love yoga too. But, we can't reattach your left arm. So hypnosis, there's a variety of problems that it can help with. And it really just depends. So IBS, common ones that have been highly researched in medical schools, we're talking where standards of care comes into the statement here. IBS, migraines, insomnia. It's so good for insomnia. There's stop smoking. Obviously, it has an 85% success rate to stop smoking, which is higher than any medication on the market, any of them, any other program on the market. So stop smoking is an easy one. People like to use it for weight loss. I have my own political stuff around that. It can be very effective for weight loss. I have a whole episode about weight loss, but I don't personally do it. I'll do overeating and mindful eating, like let's bring your eating under control. I'm not necessarily a proponent of straight up weight loss, but that's a common one that people use it for. And then also deeper healing. So again, if you're having these behavior changes that you want to make that don't seem to be happening in your life, you always seem to get a block, I would say see a hypnotherapist that's trained in deeper methods to see if they could help you. I did an interview the other day, someone's using it for erectile dysfunction. So I think it was only a session or two and the person was back to full functioning. Again, that's like you need to see a doctor first. A lot of these conditions, you need to see a doctor first, make sure nothing medically has been, everything medical has been cleared. And then a hypnotherapist can help you. Sexual dysfunction, people use it for to help them be able to improve their sexual function. That's like a handful of problems that it can help with. Oh, tinnitus, ringing in the ears. It's very common for that. Yeah. So we're not going to cure that.
Yeah.
That's not the goal in hypnosis, to cure tinnitus, but we're going to help you not pay attention to it so it doesn't take over your life.
Yeah. It's so refreshing to listen from you, because I have my hesitance always with hypnosis, and I do practice myself hypnosis as a psychotherapist, and I needed to train myself just because as a student, we were victims of somebody who didn't know what they were doing.
Oh.
My cohort in bachelor degree, we have a very difficult experience with somebody who was a famous hypnotherapist. And it was the very beginning of my career, of my student life as psychologist. So I start paying attention and I start learning a lot about that. Yeah. And I start being extremely careful. So it's so refreshing, Liz, to listen to you and to know that it's research behind, there is a place in time. It is not the ultimate resource, but it's a very good resource. And something that you said, I love that sometimes it's so 1 or 2 sessions away from recovering your life.
Yes.
Recovering the good life that you used to have, or similar to that, or better than that. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, there's miracle stories in hypnosis as well as other fields, right? Other times too. Sometimes we don't always know. So you could go to a talk therapist and someone does 1 or 2 sessions, and on our side as a therapist, sometimes they just disappear. They don't come back. And often I'll tell you, therapists think we did something wrong, right? Like it's like, oh, I don't know why that client didn't come back. Maybe they didn't like me, or maybe they didn't jive with me, or maybe I did something wrong. But then later you hear how it transformed their life. Like just 1 or 2 sessions of talk therapy. So I think that's a possibility with all kinds of healing modalities, not just hypnosis.
Yeah.
And then other times it takes, I don't know, weekly acupuncture for a year, right? For somebody, right?
Yeah.
Or, 6 sessions of this to do that. So it really just depends. It depends on the individual. It depends on what you're looking at, what you're trying to solve. The biggest thing I could tell somebody is to be careful about who you find, who you go to. You are dealing with the subconscious mind. You do want someone who practices ethically and knows what they're doing. And you can find those. There's the International Society of Clinical Hypnosis. There's the American Society of Clinical Hypnosis. There's the National Guild of Hypnotists. They're an excellent organization. So I would say look for someone who's in these organizations, who does make sure that they have good training. That the fact that they're a part of these says something. Like for many of these, you can't just sign up for them. You have to prove your credentials to them to be able to be a member. But those are also good websites to go look at and say, okay, if I want to find somebody in my area, start there and say, all right, if they're a member of the society, we know that they're well-trained because they don't just let anybody in. And then see how you feel about that person. And that's true of psychologists in general, right? Like, see how you feel about that person. It's so important that whether you're doing hypnosis or talk therapy, whether you're doing cognitive behavior or, I don't know, EMDR, how you feel about the person is really important. That's your internal guidance system, right? How we feel is our internal guidance system. It's so important to listen to it.
Yeah. I don't mind when prospective clients ask me questions like, who are you? What do you know? Like, please ask all of this, because I want you to feel comfortable once you come in. Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
So, yeah, we always, in Emotions in Harmony, we always are telling the listeners, please research the questions. Don't believe me just because I'm talking here. Yeah. So, Liz, just to finish this wonderful conversation, do you have something to add before I ask you for an online resource or something else?
I think we covered it all. I'm always open to questions.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, if someone has questions, please feel free to contact me. And I do my best to try to answer them or get you to the practitioner in your area. I always want to try to help people who are reaching out for resources.
Yeah. Do you do sessions online?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. So they can contact you if they want a session online.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And any online resource that you think is good to start with?
Mm-hmm. Yes, there's the American Society of Clinical Hypnosis, asch.net, and they have a lot of information on their website. And then the podcast that I run, honestly, has 2 years full of resources on it, right? So you can always listen to that, and that's Hypnotize Me. And you can find that online at hypnotizemepodcast.com, or you can also go to my website. There's all kinds of resources there, as well as you can download a free hypnosis to decrease fear and anxiety or increase emotional stability. There's 2 of them there. And that's drlizhypnosis.com, DRLIZ hypnosis.com.
So wait. You have something for free?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh my God. Okay.
If they join my newsletter.
Okay.
It's not completely free. They have to join
we will put the link in the notes.
Yes. Uh-huh.
But let's tell them again. So if they go to your website.
Mm-hmm. They join the newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
They get access to, it's 2 hypnosis files, and then a couple of ebooks are on there too. I tend to change over the years what I offer. So I always have it there for anybody who comes in the future.
Uh-huh.
But there's always a hypnosis file there.
So just go to Dr. Liz Bonet. Is your website, yeah?
Dr. Liz.
I have it here. Yeah.
Sure.
Dr. Liz Hypnosis.
Mm-hmm.
Hypnosis.com.
Yeah.
And they can join your newsletter and they will get all these freebies.
Mm-hmm.
It's wonderful because, of course, like you say, 2 years of podcasting is a lot of material. So I'm sure a lot of questions are covered already there. And they can also contact you. They can find you in your website. We will put all the links. They can find you in social media.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm on YouTube and
you are
Twitter,
in Instagram,
Facebook.
And
no, I dropped Instagram. My account got hacked.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It got hacked. Instead, there's no way I could clean out. Like they added like 1,000 contacts or something. It's crazy. So I was just like, forget it. I like guinea pig videos on Instagram mainly anyway that I look at with my kids, So I was like, forget Instagram.
They have plenty of resources to find you.
They do, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I really appreciate that it took us so many weeks or months to get together, but finally.
Yes.
Thank you.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
Well, anytime. You just contact us and we will be happy to have you in Emotions in Harmony.
Thank you.
Thank you, wonderful listener, for if you are still with us here, you made it to the end. Yay! Please share this to whomever you love. So we want them to get better. And if you don't love them, just share too, because you may love them one day. Yeah. Okay. So bye for now. And you will hear from us in the next week in Spanish. Bye for now. Thank you.
We have ended one more episode of Emotions in Harmony. See you the next one, when Dr. Carmen Roman will help us to have a more fulfilled life caring for ourselves and the ones we care for. Meanwhile, visit www.emotionsinharmony.com to see the show notes, subscribe, and enjoy more content.